Hello everyone, and welcome to the Monster Hunter Legends of the Guild Spoilercast, or as I like to call it, the #1 mistake in content planning ever done on this podcast network. We have with us a lot of the usual guests. We've got Bob.
Hey.
We've got KZ.
Big think content ideas shouldn't happen.
We got Mr. Feel from Mr. Feel's Wild Ride.
Twang twang?
We got Dr. Aggro from Dr. Aggro.
Man, Ark Survival Evolved Machinima's come a long way.
Has it? No, it hasn't.
Yes, it has. It's come much further than what we just watched. For people who are unaware, Monster Hunter Legends of the Guild is yet another Netflix movie made in a Capcom partnership.
Oh, good.
They should really stop.
No, they shouldn't.
No, they absolutely should. This is a waste of human life.
No, they should do another one, but make it lower quality than this one.
I don't know how you do that.
I think I do.
I think food fights on the same level.
I feel like you take this budget and this talent and say, yeah, now it has to be 2 hours, and see them crumble.
They already crumbled. So many shots of this are just like in the food fight void.
Yeah, I know there are many good shots. That boomerang shot that I made Dan rewind because he missed because the boomerang's coming back toward the cat, and then they just cut to it for a different perspective, and it's so bad.
Yeah, it's just a completely
there
different...
was a lot of stuff they cut because animating it would have involved a lot of stuff that they didn't want to do.
Like making the move.
Like a major character might die so suddenly, not on screen, that I get confused.
Yes, tell me about it.
It felt like an in-game cutscene a lot because there were a lot of we can't make a custom animation for a character holding a different thing. Do you have any idea how much extra work that would be?
I just feel like if you want to convey that one of your characters has died after an immediate cut away from them, you need, like, the Foley team needs to do better than dog eating a chicken nugget.
So, hey, Dan, how you feeling about this with a sound?
Oh, yeah, I guess we should follow the usual format.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually what we do at the beginning of these, and I guess we should format it like that, even though they didn't format this like a cogent fucking movie.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about.
I guess it's cogent. You can follow it easily. It's just a homunculus, a soulless vessel traveling the countryside, going through the motions of humanity.
I mean, it's got to be good. We checked the clock 16 minutes in.
When this was made by a studio, you know what the studio makes other than this? Oh, the only thing they seem to make. Direct-to-video Lego movies.
That's fitting. That's fitting. But yeah, usually what we do at the beginning of these is we do a brief summary of how we feel on it in 1 or 2 sentences, and then make a sound vaguely gesticulating with audio how we feel about it. We're going to go ahead and start with Bob.
How could Netflix do this to us? Why did Capcom sign off on this? This is years late to be relevant to Monster Hunter. I'm going to give it a...
Okay, Mr. Feel.
I assume this had to have been like greenlit and written in like 2016 and just didn't happen until now. Also, it's bad. I'm going to give it a...
Okay, Dr. Aggro.
Because of where it takes place in the Monster Hunter timeline, I'm going to use this movie as concrete reasoning to refuse everyone who tells me I need to play a Monster Hunter game from before World. Huh?
Okay, KZ.
1, Aggro's right, but 2, I was shocked and paralyzed upon watching this and going, oh my god, the main character's in World. Oh my god, they're trying to make this fit as a prequel to World. You should absolutely watch it before playing World. But it's really terrible, so I'm giving it a... Ooh.
Okay, I've never played a Monster Hunter game and basically know nothing about Monster Hunter except for a couple of the weapons that are used in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So finding out that there's actually any character from this that's in World is giving me a head, like I'm getting dizzy.
Okay, feel. So that this movie starts with them. They're on a boat, and two characters are talking about Zora Magdaros. That's like the big main plot monster of World that isn't like the flagship cover monster. I'm like, oh, okay. Maybe it's... Wait, these hunters look exactly the same as they're like the other team that you work with. And
yeah,
the dude,
you're on that boat somewhere.
Yeah, and the main character in this is the ace hunter, Aiden, from Monster Hunter World. Is like an NPC.
So what you're saying is this is character assassination.
Yeah, that's why it's a flashback, because like they're literally just going to that game. The other ship probably has your created character on it.
I don't know. Aiden kind of acts just like this in World.
I don't remember him at all.
He shows up on the boat, and then he shows up during the Nergigante fight, and he's like, haha, let's do it. And I'm like, all right, that guy from the intro. Hooray.
All right.
Yeah, I just started freaking out when I just Googled his name and went, oh shit, you're in here. You're like a real dude.
This makes more sense to me, at least. I mean, not makes more sense, but at least I'm glad that my initial impression that it's like, is this kid just like we have Atreus at home? Like, is that this kid? And then finding out, no, he just looks like that. Okay, so they didn't do that.
Oh, actually, he's in a bunch of these. Actually, he started being in since like Monster Hunter 4. He's the excitable A-lister.
Okay.
Great.
So he's like the Biggs or Wedge of Monster Hunter.
Yeah, he kind of just shows up and he's like, yeah, I do stuff.
Cool. Let me get to my summary. So, yeah, they really need to fucking cut this out. This barely qualifies as narrative. It's so fucking empty and hollow, this shambling husk of a story. I regret everything. As someone who's never played Monster Hunter for any extended period of time, I have no ties to fire any neurons in my head at all. Looking at how some of the things were, like the weird spider that looked like a Lost Planet 2 monster.
And has stop motion frame rate.
Yeah, and has insanely high frequency texture modeling, so that way it looks nothing like anything else in the entire movie.
So do you think that was a model they took from the 3DS game and just put better textures on it?
I honestly was like, maybe Capcom just handed them a Lost Planet 2 monster. It's so fucking dire. I'm serious. Like, so much of this looks bad. And that's the thing. If it just looked bad, but it had an all right story, it would be okay. But everything is going through the motions. This is literally Save the Dog, the movie. And since it's 58 minutes long and really shorter than that because Netflix does the double credits, it's even more insanely paced. It's like we have our character who's going to come around on things. We have our character who's going to be upset that, our main cast intervened and eventually we'll warm up to them. Hope nothing bad happens.
God, this is the type of thing that would premiere on Cartoon Network once.
This is a direct-to-DVD movie, like a direct-to-DVD kids movie. Like, that's the and it was written by someone who exclusively writes like Saturday morning cartoons.
I feel like Alpha and Omega has to be better than this. That's the point this is at.
The first one, probably.
Yeah, maybe one or two, not 7 or 8.
not Journey to the Bear Kingdom, where it's animation, animation,
Bob asked a very good question while watching, saying, is it possible for a face to T-pose?
Yes. As I learned playing certain games, it's possible for a car to T-pose.
Feel? At any point, did you notice any black boxes appearing anywhere on the screen occasionally?
Yeah, I have to wonder if anyone else noticed because they didn't notice, but I kept rolling it back each time it happened. I'm like, there's a giant black box in the frame for one frame.
Prefab missing.
No, I'm gonna be real. I had it in my other window. It's like, okay, I'm watching it,
Again,
but
we blew it up
but
on our
sometimes-
giant TV.
Yeah.
sometimes my eyes glaze over, so I might have missed it.
That's fair, Phil. That's the only defense against me coming up to you. And I'm like, okay, Phil, for our homework for this podcast, you have to stare at this carton of milk for an hour.
Okay.
That would have been better.
Yes, I didn't catch any of them because I was always looking at the models as they move and how much that looked really bad if they were about to cut. There was like, yeah, he can go down to a quarter frame, right?
Yeah.
Sure. That's fine.
Whatever. Ebby's in the background. No one's going to notice that she's walking shoulders first.
Yes. Nobody.
No one noticed, right, Bob?
Nobody noticed. Nobody, in fact, watched this film. This is... God, it is the epitome of Netflix / Game Pass filler.
This is worse than I think any of that has ever been before.
But I had more fun than Resident Evil.
But I think Resident Evil's mildly more competent, which is insane.
Yeah,
I think you just forgot so much of it that the things
no.
you remember seem competent.
Oh no, I vividly remember that. You know what Leon S. Kennedy never did? Walk shoulders first.
yeah.
Oh, I meant like as a full package. I don't think that Resident Evil one was nearly as competent.
Yeah, no, that the Resident Evil thing was barely a thing.
Let me put it this way, okay, KZ? This will convey it.
Sure.
That Resident Evil thing had a lot of plot threads that were unnecessary and things that got skipped over and characters who got totally screwed. Claire. This is the Nutrigrain I'm feeling great commercial of narratives.
Dude, I love that commercial.
Every 10 seconds, some new character is introduced and they yell at you their entire arc.
If Insect Glaive Girl would go babies everywhere and started putting acorns in her tummy, then this would have been the best thing in the world.
It would have, but the problem is that this is just that level of storytelling without the joke being how fast it is. It just rushes into all these things. Like, for example, in a single scene, really insanely fast, the blacksmith Ravi is established to not like people. They come in, they talk to him for a bit. Main character gets turned down, pouts, leaves. And right after that, oh my God, this dude's face. I don't even know how to describe it. Sephiroth on the asset store talks to him, goes,
Sephiroth, but a Warcraft character.
We have Dante
Geralt
at
of
home.
Rivia at home.
God.
He's like you fuse every version of Hero Man together.
I assume he's got to be Geralt. There's no other reason for his dual blades to be that stupid looking.
I know. I was like, this guy looks like he's going for Geralt, but he looks so terrible. No Geralt cosplayer has ever looked this bad because they're human. But yeah, anyways, Geralt talks to the blacksmith and he's like, blah, blah, blah. Remember when you were an ace hunter? And he pulls up a thing to show the equipment. And then Ravi immediately goes, that was a long time ago. And it's like he's pushing a button. His arm reaches out and bumps the backside of whatever. And the curtain falls back down immediately.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Even lifting the curtain and putting it back down, this little drape they had over his equipment didn't have enough time in this movie, let alone his fucking arc.
It's fine that he just shows up and like 2 scenes later, like, I want help now for no reason.
I heard you needed help. We did.
We need to have our Bond event coming up.
Yeah,
so.
did you have an arc? Did we miss your arc? Why are you helping?
I really liked how there was a big fight scene full of comedy beats, and right after we immediately have to have the conflict check mark.
Yes.
Like, okay. Geralt at home is mad at Atreus because he did something wrong during that fight that was full of comedy beats. So now he's gonna let a bunch of people die, I guess.
I mean that. The kid was a fuck up, all right? It's like, we should leave. No, I'll just keep fixing it. No. You didn't anchor this trap. It's already coming out of the tarp.
Right? Imagine how that scene goes for those of you who've played Monster Hunter, which I guess is KZ.
Yeah.
I played it. I played that one at least. I played World.
Okay. Imagine how that scene goes if you're actually playing that game, where it's like, oh fuck, the trap fucked up. Everybody else is already like 50 yards away. No, guys, I think we can take this thing and the Devil Joe. You just let him die.
No. In no universe does this work. Or it's like, I'll solo this. No, you won't. It scales to 4 people. We can only take 3 deaths before game over, and that's across the whole team.
Well, there you go. It's a very accurate narrative representing, the mechanics of the game, which is good. I'm glad this represents the game. Now, if it could resemble a good story, that would be better.
I was freaking out while they did this, while they had this Devil Joe fight. It was like, they cannot handle this. This is too much for them. But they're still planning to fight an Elder Dragon tomorrow? It's like, maybe we should just rethink everything.
But they're like, all the materials for these will help them make the Dragonator.
This one Devil Joe drop is going to, give us like all sets of armor and new weapons.
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
Yep.
This is very unrealistic. We got to fight that thing about 12 times.
We've tricked the game. We all have max DKP.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no, it's so bad. It's so fucking terrible. Here's what they should have done with this script, and I mean this sincerely, okay? It's not intellectually interesting to do this as a bad CG movie. You should have paid cosplayers and done this as a terrible, low-cost YouTube production.
That would have been delightful compared to this.
Exactly. That would have fired some fucking neurons.
They'd be in a park. You would see random people in normal clothing walk by at random.
It's great. You can tell they're trying their best to mat out the sky and green screen in their Rathalos thing.
Yes.
They got a Devil Joe fucking figurine.
I'm just imagining like posing and fighting the Devil Joe that's on the green screen.
They would probably look better than what we got here.
So they're like fighting the monster in like punch out perspective because they can't actually have the monster.
Yes. Also, you would get this writing, which is already really bad. For example, here's an example of the aggressively
Good.
insufferable writing in this. The cat, all it ever says is, "This is the blank plan." I wish I wrote down a list because it is a really long list. The boomerang plan worked. The panic plan now it's time for the panic plan. There's plan C, D, and E. That's what was it? Fight, height, retreat. I can't remember.
Plan A is to run. Plans B and C are to hide, and I can't remember C.
Bargain.
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 Okay, yeah.
And then plan D is also to run.
Yeah, see, it's nonstop. My whole thing is I make the jokes about plans. It's like somebody who thought of one good line and then said, I'm going to use this 25 times.
The main character's thing is doing name puns on the monsters, but I don't think he starts doing that till he says he does it, like halfway through the movie.
No, he does it in that opening exposition scene.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's hard to tell because they're not puns. He just cuts out parts of the words and puts in part of a monster name.
Yeah, I knew a guy like that in chat once, and I'm glad he's fucking gone. This is a pun. No, it isn't. You need to try harder.
Making puns is my entire personality. I'm one of those people.
Yeah. Yeah, it was not good that was this main character's entire personality.
I got mad when we got to the puns have to be his part of his backstory. There has to be a deep reason.
Yeah.
Like I had to cover my face with my hands for a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's
I'm scared of monsters, so if I give them funny names and jokes, I won't be scared anymore.
this is how I cope. Okay, great. How do I cope with you?
I got to tell you, every writing decision in this movie, I loved it. Because
This is what I was hoping.
like this stuff, it's not just bad, it's schlock. Like it's bad 80s live action sci-fi 70s like low rent 70s kung fu movies stock, and it's amazing. Every scene, every character decision is just in there because that's the kind of things that are in fantasy adventure stories, right?
Yeah, it's just literally filling out the mold.
It's really just filling. Yeah, that was all I got, was just like, if you had the algorithm make a kids movie that had to be an hour long, this is something like what you'd get.
Nobody wrote him in that movie. They just looked at it and went, oh, wait, shit. Who's in these scenes? Well, that's a continuity problem. And they invented a new character to have those lines.
No, well, they needed him so somebody could use the switch axe.
I'm so fucking mad that like the first new hunter they meet is a goddamn Kinsect glaive user.
Yeah!
And then the switch axe guy just gets fucking ganked.
She gets ganked too. She gets eaten like a chicken nugget.
Yes, and that's what she deserves for not being a true insect glaive person and being in the air 80% of the time.
Right.
and being voiced by Erica Lindbeck, I think.
Fucking switch axe goes down. I'm like, this movie is bullshit. And then she dies. And 2 minutes later, when I realized she died,
Yeah.
I guess I'm the only one who absorbed the first time through.
I understood immediately.
No, they cut
like,
to
one
the
of the
grave.
characters like, oh
and I
no,
just
she
went,
died. I was like, what?
yeah, no, they cut to the grave, and I'm like, what? What the fuck? What do
As
you?
soon as they cut away, I'm like, oh, you're doing that type of shot, but bad.
As soon as she gave her journal away, I was like, yeah, she's going to die. No matter how much it looks like she doesn't, she definitely will.
She's like, here you go. This is my last day on the force.
yes.
I had to go back to the previous scene where it's her and the main character, talking about their backstories, and that whole time I was like, oh god, is this going to be like a really terrible forced romance subplot? Oh no, it's build her up so we can kill her. Oh, okay, that's fine. You go, girl.
They even killed their Kinsect. They didn't know that could happen. It definitely doesn't in the games.
Here's the thing, Aggro. I don't know how to bridge this gap because I get where you're coming from, and I can see how the things you see in the writing work for you in that way. But for me, it not being live action and it feeling a lot less it feels soulless. It feels empty and hollow and like it's hovering at high speeds instead of moving across the story. Something about that just makes this not work for me in the least. Now, if they just took the magic sauce that was cosplay.
See, I just pretended it was made in 1995 and came on like right after the Starship Troopers series.
Yeah, I was thinking about that in Beast Wars while we watched this.
About how Beast Wars looks better than this is what you said.
Yeah.
I really wish I could have pretended that too, Aggro, because I would have changed the fucking channel.
Oh, no.
Don't you think you're being a little mean? I think so.
Don't you think you're being a little mean? Yeah, don't you think you should shut the fuck up? You think I'm not trying here?
No, I get paid to do this. Make noises and be wrong. Oh, that'll go in the quotes.
Local Republican Senator Casey Excellent.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, this didn't really fire any neurons. The animations are really terrible. And once again, like, if it was visually
super
just
are. Oh my
shit,
God.
like,
Yeah.
I'd be fine. I've never seen a movie this long on Netflix promoted as like, hey, it's a Netflix movie. This is important. Where it looked like every moment they had to animate a character was a struggle.
Yeah, like those CG animes they keep putting on Netflix, so I'm always like, well, that's disappointing. It looks pretty bad. They all look better, and those are like 12 to 13 episode series.
Yeah, they look insanely better.
Like, what happened?
Guys, we're making a Monster Hunter series. We need you to be able to do two things. Okay, hit me. We need you to be able to model all of these weapons and equipment from the Monster Hunter series. Okay, check. And we need you to be able to animate characters swinging them.
Sometimes they'll swing them 2 feet away from the monster. Or that part where fucking we have Sephiroth at home, dude, is using his 2 swords and is stabbing into the monster where Dan had to roll back. He's like, you need to see how bad this looks.
Yeah, he stabbed it too. That was like the first violent thing that happened in the movie.
It's funny because I'm riding your neck and stabbing you with one sword at a time, left arm, right arm, left arm, right arm, looked like a looping animation you would mash A through.
Yeah, it looked like something you do in RuneScape.
Yeah,
that was right after.
It doesn't look like doing the mashing animation in Monster Hunter. That's animated too well.
Right, of course it is. Of course.
He actually does the dual blade spin, but are there dual blades that look like his case of rapiers?
I don't.
I'm not. I think dual blades are all.
Yeah, they feel like they're
smaller
always
and curved.
Yeah, they're like big like cutlasses.
I have to assume this is pretty, like, all of this stuff was planned pretty old, because I'm looking at the Monster Hunter 4 render of Aiden, and that's what he is in this movie.
Huh. Weird.
So I'm assuming this must have been, like, written or brainstormed or whatever in, like, 2015.
And animated.
What? In the 90s?
I'm gonna be
Animated 2015 years ago.
all through. I can't believe we're doing a spoiler cast on the Untold Legends animated movie.
Right? This is a 10-year-old movie with a texture pack.
See, and that's the thing. I feel like Untold Legends is that. It's colored by the numbers plot, but somehow it comes off as even better than this because there are some moments in that where it's just like, yeah, the poison killed that person off screen. Anyway, here's your next quest.
Okay, I found them. The Sworn Rapiers. They're dual blades.
Okay,
So
all right.
that looks
Okay.
like what he uses.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I said, hey, was one of the demands Capcom had that they animate this as awkwardly as the PS2 game Controlled? Like, is that a design document thing or just a happy coincidence? Some of the walking animations were so rough you expected to see the cast of Reboot walk into frame.
Reboot looks better than this.
Of course it does because it's artistic.
I mean, yes, and also everyone runs like you would imagine people doing the claw motion on a controller.
Yeah, I don't know. I just after the last Resident Evil thing, I thought, how can it get worse? and then I saw this and immediately went, okay, that's it.
Well, I wonder if the Dragon Dogma thing is this bad.
Oh yeah, that is out. It
Oh
has
my
been for a
god,
while.
they did 3 Capcom things in a year.
Yeah.
Oh, and they're still working on a Devil May Cry thing, but at least that has
Yeah, that has
somebody who
Powerhouse,
isn't-
right? Isn't that animated by some of the staff over at
Yeah, the same staff that did the
I-
Castlevania.
yeah.
Yeah, so there you
Yeah,
go.
so
It's
at
gonna look
least-
fucking incredible compared to this, at least. You know, that Resident Evil thing, the largest problem with it is that its animations were kind of rough. I have to say kind of now because now we've seen this. And its modeling for characters was insanely high fidelity, but the environments were 7th gen core.
But these were very high fidelity. You would zoom in and see their pores.
They look wrong, though. Every fucking model in this looks wrong.
Yeah, the kid looked like a basketball.
Once again, the kid of face T-pose. Like, it's just,
I left some great spoilered images in there from the beginning of the movie
Sure.
and from when
Yeah,
the edible hits him.
yeah, I think it's time to click these.
Yeah, let
Here
me
we
see.
go. Oh, that's great. Yeah,
I looked at the same shot
this is great.
where like he looks so stoned.
He's just like, oh man, oh fuck, I can't feel my fingers.
I'm the only voice actor anyone will recognize.
Erica Lindbeck's in
I
this.
forgot the opening scene. He's walking through his asset shop village.
Yeah.
Remember that stupid fucking merchant who was in the movie for 2 seconds? Mm-hmm. That they say from the fire. That's Brian Beacock.
Oh.
Who dat?
That's Monokuma.
God. You're the worst.
It's always Monokuma.
All right. Well,
Holy shit! Remember the strong independent woman character with the gun?
Uh-huh.
She is voiced by someone who was one of the main characters in the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon
that's fitting.
from the 80s.
Nice.
This is a weird cast.
It is an incredibly bizarre cast.
It's almost like everybody who made this was involved in Saturday morning cartoons and not making something like this.
It's really funny because when I click on Dante Basco,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, that's Rufio from Hook. And I'm like, fuck you, what? How dare you?
And I was like, wow, I just know him from Avatar and American Dragon Jake Long.
God.
Yeah, once I scroll down to see, this is Zuko.
I
And
didn't
was
want
like,
to
okay,
assume
all right.
because he didn't really dig into the Dante Basco voice heavy, and then you reach the second half and he's just in that mode again.
Yeah, I just had to double check, make sure I remember who Rufio was. Yeah.
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 Rufio.
Again, he was cast because he looks vaguely like in Hook. He looked vaguely like this main character.
Bob's like, yeah, the executives are like, we need that Rufio kid. Which Rufio? From the new Pan? No.
Wait, there's a new Rufio?
Well, I mean, Pan is what, 5 years old, 8 years old at this point?
I assume Rufio's not in that, but yeah.
I have no fucking clue. I didn't watch it.
No, we should find out.
No, we shouldn't.
Okay, you're right. We won't.
Yeah, we just watch Hook again. I need to see that
I've
again.
never seen Hook.
I haven't seen Hook in a long time. I remember it holding it up. I was in a stage play production of Hook when I was like 12.
Oh, cool. Judging by most television and movies, that should have scarred you in some tragic way, like an accident happened with some equipment and someone died.
Okay.
No, it was against my will because it was at one of those fucking summer like babysitting things. Because my parents didn't decide, and I was like, "This is fucking stupid. I don't want to be Smee. Stop taking me there." And they went, "Okay."
Victory.
What was
Fucking Smee.
so? Did it bug anyone else that like at the beginning of the movie, it's the present timeline right before Monster Hunter World? Aiden is like all gruff and harsh and kind of tell them this horrible story, but by the end of that story, he seems pretty fine. Like he's fine with those people having died. He's already over it.
He's already making jokes.
Yeah, he's already goofing around.
I had this impression that he was gonna like be this hunter where it's like, this is how I became a true hunter and this is my experience, and it's like, you were a dipshit the whole time.
Yes, he has practiced that opening line, that I've faced an elder dragon line, to sound just like that, like for months, every day, just to get it to sound like that.
Okay, so about the IMDb credits for a lot of the people in this giving me severe mental anxiety. I look up the cat Knox, okay? Mm-hmm. And I think I'm looking at their acting filmography, but in fact, he's produced a lot of things, and they put that on top. So I scroll to the oldest thing they produced. Associate producer on The 41-Year-Old Virgin Who Knocked Up Sarah Marshall and Felt Super Bad About It. See, it's a movie. That's a parody
Oh.
of all of those movies.
Was that like an epic movie spinoff sort of thing?
It's definitely of the same ilk, based on the name, clearly not even made by the same production company, but here's the movie poster. There you go.
I gotta go.
Well, he was also a producer on 30 Nights of Paranormal Activity with the devil inside the girl with the dragon tattoo.
That's a much better mashup title, honestly.
These are bold. These are a lot more impressive than an epic movie.
Yeah, that's true. Also executive producer on the short film Boner Police, the movie.
Was this guy working with Patrick Klepek?
You have to wonder. But yeah, no, that's a lot to deal with. IMDb.
I saw this dude's picture who voiced Knox the cat. I'm just like, is this Action Bronson? Did he voice this cat?
Please tell me it's not. But yeah, anyways, I don't know what else to even say about this movie. It is so by the numbers, and its animation's terrible. We talked about that. We talked about the few ties. I feel like recapping the plot will be too much to do here because it's just...
Yeah, it doesn't deserve it.
No.
This can't be longer than the film.
Right, no, absolutely not. Some things warrant that. This is not it.
The thing where I was really convinced like this was going to be dire was pretty early on when the village elder, who's like a goblin, like what the fuck is her deal?
Well, she's one of the Wyvern
Wyvern
race. And she's really old, so she became tiny like anime people. So she's now just looks like one of those Ranma old people.
Yeah, she does. But she tells the story about the Elder Dragon. And this story in the Monster Hunter world has film grain.
Yes.
It also is a really bad motion comic.
Yes. Oh, man, I forgot to bring that up. That motion comic was nuts.
Yeah, you whipped like you've been shot a couple times just looking at it.
It's kind of rough.
Yeah. No, I don't blame you.
You know, it's funny. You can type Monster Hunter Netflix film, and it will still bring up the theatrical film that came out this year.
Yeah, we really should have done a Fight Club.
Yeah, we should have done a Fight Club.
Yeah, I'm much more interested in that movie.
This is a really dire spot. I don't know. I don't know how or why you would ever recommend this to someone.
Before you play World, you got to see the lore.
If you're a really, really big Lunastra fan. Honestly, Lunastra comes out pretty good in this film.
It does. It doesn't even die.
It eats a person. Or eats two
I'll
people.
see you next time.
Just delete someone from the movie.
Fucking dander attack. I still have nightmares about it.
Yeah, I was like, this seems like a Monster Hunter thing. Okay, this seems fairly authentic as someone who doesn't have firsthand experience. They did all the things. Good job.
Yeah, almost like they had a list that they just went down.
Good job.
He saved the village by destroying the village. This is really good.
Yeah, like, what? Maybe you should have had them evacuate.
Yeah, just the more the movie went on, I was like, why didn't you guys evacuate? This seems impossible. It literally seems like there's no way.
In fact, there's a fringe possibility the fire would have died out and it would have just walked completely past your village.
Right?
Right? It might have just walked through with no problem.
Yeah, like
The
like
Nazis
if you
would have
if you had
opened
just
the Ark and
if you had just gotten out of the way, it's like it wasn't really interested in you. As they said, it was migrating.
Yeah, when they were talking about it the whole time, I thought that this dragon was going to be like the big one from the End of World, which is gigantic, and to the point where like, yeah, this is destroying a whole continent basically. We can't run. But no, this thing is like the size of a regular dragon monster.
Yeah, no.
wait, like
Zor
not Zor
Magdaros
Magdaros, the one at the actual end of World?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, no, this movie would have been like an hour and a half longer.
They just talk about going toward it.
You know how long it takes to kill that thing?
Yeah, no, that's why I was like, why are they even trying to fight? They have 5 guys. And then we see the monster, and it's like, but I take this thing solo. What happened?
And I'm like, I guess this kind of makes sense because they went, yeah, all the elder dragons are moving this way. We don't know why. I'm like, yeah, I think that happens in World Story, either there or in the expansion. So this makes sense. But,
It's weird that it's happening like 10 or so years before World, though, because
Yeah,
this
I
is
know.
a flashback.
Yeah, but this is also a bad movie.
But yeah, this feels like it should have released like that Mass Effect anime did. Where like right before World comes out, they get it out really quick. To be like, yeah, this is a prequel.
I thought of Paragon Lost a lot during this.
And how it's probably better.
Yes. God.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Oh, absolutely.
No.
There's drastically better characters.
No, I'm gonna say yes. Vic Mignogna filled his role well.
Again, Vic Mignogna was just barely cast wrong in that movie. He had the character right next to him who he should have been.
Yes.
Look, the casting director has dyslexia. You need to fucking forgive them. They read the wrong name. But I don't know. Look, I'm sure all of the interesting concepts or events in that Mass Effect movie came directly from the game. You know, like paralysis bugs, which I found hilarious.
Yes, that is a
Paralysis
thing.
bugs.
That is a thing.
Yeah, they did all of those things really clunkily, but I appreciate it's like, oh, yellow electricity or red electricity. They got to show the element.
Yeah, I just... You know, even though the twist is really bad in the Mass Effect thing, at least the state of the world and events changed at any point. Instead of the beginning being like, big dragon, come this way, we fight. There was nothing.
That is literally the plot of every Monster Hunter mission.
I get that, and I'm sure it's fun to play.
I don't know. We needed the main character on 2 buttons at the end too to make no sense.
No, you need to understand, this is so much worse than even the games. Even the story mode and worlds, like, okay, this is building up to something. This is a climax, despite your main antagonist being monsters that can't talk.
Yeah. As a last note, the Elder Josel also played Sonny Gummy from The Adventures of the Gummy Bears. With that said, Does anyone have anything else they want to say about this? Because Jesus. Normally, I'm all for deep discussions of things that aren't great, but I find it incredibly hard to find things to say about this.
I'm shocked we got this far.
I feel like that I should state that based on the allocation of which character slots were using which weapons, the person who wrote this movie is morally deficient.
Is it because
Dual
they used
blades,
an insect glaive?
insect glaive,
What's wrong with insect glaive?
switch axe dies first. What the fuck?
I love the fact that insect glaive is just another entry in me picking a bad Pokemon starter.
It is a lot like that, isn't it?
Where aggro's like, this is the major issue I have. I'm like, come on.
Oh, this is funny. I actually didn't know you had personal attachment to the insect glaive.
Yes, that's the main one I
yes.
use.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
well then.
Lock the doors.
I want to bring up the scene real quick.
Okay.
Where they finish fighting the Devil Joe and the other thing.
Yeah.
They have their big fight scene for the movie that's not the final showdown. And they split up in different directions.
No, don't. Please don't.
And the lady with the gun follows the main cast with Aiden and talks to him. Mm-hmm. And then later, in the next cut, she's with the other guy. And it's like, yeah, I followed you. It's like, you didn't.
Yeah, they split off into two directions, one group of 3, one group of 1, and somehow teleported.
Look, I'm telling you, she's the master of the flash step.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay.
That's why she didn't get eaten like a chicken nugget.
2 minutes later, Dan's like, where's that chicken nugget at?
Yeah, that's how it felt. I'm not like, oh, where's that great character I love? Okay, we're gonna wrap this up. Everyone, get ready to give it a score out of 10. And summarize your feelings. Go ahead and start. Yeah, I could theory craft a worse movie. You could do that. The example, there were no trombones that sounded like farts in this. It wouldn't be easy to do, but you could just throw out preposterous concepts that would get you somewhere that is worse. That is true. That is absolutely the case.
You're technically correct.
It's so bad. It's fucked up. This has to share a score with Resident Evil. I'm going to give this a 1 out of 10. You should not ever watch this. I don't know why you would ever recommend this. It's just the fucking bottom of the barrel. Yeah, we can break the bottom and dig into the earth, but I don't think that's fair to include that on the scale. Yeah, like, yo, what if they said a slur? Wouldn't that be worse? Yes, it would, and I don't need to take that into consideration.
Oh God! Like the blacksmith is holding him back and is getting immolated and just yells.
God, the fucking we didn't even talk about the
It's not even the
blacksmith.
slur you'd expect.
Yeah, we have to talk about the one black guy in this film gets set on fire.
Very X-Men First Class energy.
I was gonna literally say that was that the only minority, and then they died, and Dan's like, no, you forgot Minigun Woman.
Yeah, you forgot the minigun woman.
Which I actually did. I forgot she was in the movie.
But yeah, so I'm going to give it a 1 out of 10. And yeah, I understand there are worse things in the world like capitalism. But you
But
know,
I wanna
once
hate
again,
this, so
once
I
again,
will.
this is, there's nothing here.
What are you talking about? There's wonderful things here.
Dan, what are you going to rate this empty cardboard box? 1. There's nothing in it. And then that's when Agra goes, but Dan, look inside. It's your imagination. And then he puts it on his head.
Agra's right.
He puts it on his head and he's like, I have a helmet. We're going to go to Bob next. Bob.
This is tough. Mm-hmm. It looks horrible. The story is not censored. It is really bad and by the numbers.
Uh-huh.
But it's not offensive. It's like wholly not offensive. Mm-hmm. God, I feel bad rating this the same exact score as Infinite Darkness, but I'm gonna do it. It's gonna get another. Wait, you know what? It can get a slight buff. It gets a 3.
Whoa.
Whoa.
I would still
Very
never
cool.
watch it again.
Okay, so that means same quality as The Last of Us Part 2.
Thereabout, yeah. Yeah, I just think about it, it's like Resident Evil made me more upset because those were characters I knew and cared about
Yeah.
being ruined.
Uh-huh.
This doesn't
Like
have
what?
that. These aren't characters.
Yeah, they are not.
Now, if they brought in Richard Epcar's character from Monster Hunter World and screwed him up,
Oh,
then
I'd
I could be
pissed.
upset.
We're gonna go to Aggro. Hey, Aggro.
I'm gonna give this movie a 4. Because honestly, like if I still watched TV and this just like came on, I'd be like, all right, and like watch whatever was left of it. But it's just so goddamn shittily animated.
Yes, it's so bad.
Yeah. Approaching Xavier Renegade Angel tier.
No,
Yeah.
that as fucked up as this sounds, that is far more realistic more interpretations of how humans move through 3D space. I guess we'll go to KZ next.
This is so bad. It's so unbelievably bad. The animation is so terrible, but so funny as a result, and everything's just... It hits that level of, this is terrible, but acceptable enough in my brain that it makes me have fun, that I will also be giving it a 4.
Okay. And Mr. Feel.
I'm going to give this a 3. If you put a 7-year-old in front of it, they'd shut up for an hour.
So utility comes into play for your score.
Well, it's a direct to DVD kids movie. That's what they exist for.
I can't. So I haven't seen all or a hugely comprehensive amount of those. I've seen several, and none of them hit this low for me ever. I think that's unfair as a comparison.
Also, I feel like I should point out now that every single character in this movie is in a Monster Hunter game.
Okay, that explains things.
Julius, Geralt at home,
Yeah.
is a major character in like the 4 set of games. So like 4 generations.
This is
Weird.
And-
This is really sad because if you think
So
about that means they just dragged pre-existing voice actors for good things back in to make this shit.
I don't think Monster Hunter had normal voice acting until World. I think it was all the
Okay.
Yeah.
Banjo-Kazooie speak.
Yeah, they had Monster Hunter language until World, and then they're like, okay.
And then they're like, maybe we should spend money. And then they made $1 billion, and they were like, "Oh man, good thing we spent money."
yeah, this should appeal to an audience.
Well, that brings its average, its sum up to 15 out of 50 points, getting an average of 3 points.
Shadowfall.
Getting an average of 3.75.
It's only 1 point worse than Killzone Shadowfall, but it got 4 times that score from me.
This is, I mean this, audience. I didn't know.
I knew from the poster.
Dude, just because something looks hideous doesn't mean it's a vacuum of entertainment and fun and
It was
Yeah,
not a vacuum of
that's true.
entertainment and fun. I had a great time.
Dear audience, we're going to stop doing this thing where we go, Netflix is releasing a gaming thing. We should care. At least I think we're going to stop doing that.
I
Yeah,
don't
what
know.
if the next one's really hype?
What if we watched the Dragon's Dogma thing so we could finally have a definitive Capcom CG thing list?
Oh, God.
The
From
Netflix Mega Man show.
Man, that Mega Man cartoon's better than this. Damn.
I'm sure. I bet Pac-Man: The Ghostly Adventures is better than this.
It is. I've seen enough of that to know.
That design isn't better.
I
but
was pointing out the fucking Garfield CG cartoon's better than this, and that's fucked up.
They literally didn't finish some of that.
Oh yeah, I know. That's an art style though.
I actually had a second of, wait, which one? The Monster Hunter thing or the Garfield thing?
This month's GigaBoots executive producers are Esme, E. Lee Broyles, Star Falcon, Spaceman Spiff, Red Blaze 27, Brendan O'Sullivan, Dobo Muito Real, Ace Gundam Pilot Adam Admar, Cooper Tank, Zilter, and Virmvarn. Thank you very much to our executive producers. And also these gamers. If you want to be a gamer or ascend to God Kinghood, then head on over to patreon.com/gigaboots today.